Welcome to Small Firm Big Impact Express, your 5-minute update designed specifically for smaller accounting firms across Australia and New Zealand. I'm your host today, Natalie Lennon, founder and director of Two Sides Accounting. In this episode, we're exploring how to work better with bookkeepers and avoid messy data. In just 5 minutes, we'll break down what's changed, why it matters, and what to do next. Let's get into it. So, what's happened? For many smaller practices, working with bookkeepers is now a normal part of delivering work to clients. More businesses are using cloud accounting software, more bookkeeping is being done externally or by independent providers, and more clients expect everyone to be able to work together in the same file. That should make life easier, but in reality, plenty of firms are still losing time to messy data. You might open a file and find unreconciled amounts, transactions coded inconsistently, payroll issues, duplicate entries, or balance sheet items that have not been reviewed properly for months. And often, the real issue is not the software. It's that no one has clearly agreed on who is doing what. The bookkeeper may be doing the day-to-day processing, but not reviewing the file at the end of the month. The accountant may assume the data is ready to go, only to discover a clean-up job at BAS time or year-end. And the client often does not understand where the bookkeeper's role stops and the accountant's role starts. So while technology has improved, the gap between bookkeeping, compliance, and advisory work is still creating friction for smaller firms. So why does this matter? For a small practice, messy data does not just create a technical issue, it creates a resourcing issue. Every hour spent fixing coding, chasing missing information, or untangling errors is an hour your team cannot spend on the more valuable work. It puts pressure on turnaround times, affects recoveries, and can make even a straightforward job less profitable than it should be. It also impacts the advice you can give. If the numbers are not reliable, it is much harder to give clients timely guidance on cash flow, tax, staffing, pricing, or growth. Instead of being proactive, the firm is stuck looking backwards and cleaning up the basics. And then there is the relationship side. When roles are unclear, frustration builds quickly. Accountants can feel like they are constantly correcting work. Bookkeepers can feel like expectations were never explained, and clients can end up confused about who is accountable. For smaller practices, where every client relationship matters, that can be a real problem. So, what should you do next? First, be very clear about roles. Do not assume everyone has the same understanding. Spell out who is responsible for transaction coding, payroll, reconciliations, BAS, month-end checks, year-end journals, and responding to queries. Even a simple checklist can make a big difference. Second, set a minimum standard for what a clean file looks like. That might include bank accounts reconciled on time, key balance sheet accounts reviewed monthly, payroll processed correctly, and supporting documents stored where everyone can access them. Smaller practices do not need a complicated framework, but they do require consistency. Third, agree on how you will work together, which software will be used, how should questions be raised, when should issues be escalated, how often will the file be reviewed. It is much easier to prevent a problem than to fix one later. And finally, communicate earlier. If something is not working, address it before it becomes a bigger cleanup job. A short monthly check-in with the client or bookkeeper can save hours later and help keep the relationship on track. The firms that do this well are not necessarily using more technology. They're usually the ones with clearer expectations, better processes, and stronger communication. So that wraps up this episode of Small Firm Big Impact Express. When accountants and bookkeepers work well together, the data improves, the workflow is smoother, and clients get better support. If you found this update helpful, share it with your colleagues and subscribe so you do not miss future episodes. You'll find useful resources and links relating to this topic on the podcast page. And for more tools, insights, and practical resources designed specifically for smaller practices, visit the Smaller Practices Centre. Until next time, I'm Natalie Lennon. Thank you for listening.